It has just gone 8 o'clock Central African time. Good evening and welcome to the news bulletin at 8 here at Eswatini TV. It's Valentine's Day. We're coming to you live from our Hospital Hill studios in Babade. And on our top stories at 8, let's dive straight onto it and take a look. And my name is Sanabo Ngongwana.
His Majesty King Eswatini III has commended strong collaboration that exists between the Seventh-day Adventist Church and government. Their Majesties have officially announced the first leg of the Bukalo ceremony for this year, and the Deputy Prime Minister says government continues to assess the damages caused by the ongoing rains.
Hello again, and for our news in detail. His Majesty King Eswatini III has commended strong collaboration that exists between the Seventh-day Adventist Church and government. His Majesty says the Church has contributed immensely towards the government's efforts to improve the livelihoods of the nation. His Majesty was speaking through His Royal Highness Prince Longokela during an event marking the visit of the President of the General Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, Pastor Ted Wilson, who arrived in the country on Tuesday morning.
The Kingdom of Eswatini is on the list of Seventh-day Adventist Church African Continent divisions that the President of the Seventh-day Adventist Church Worldwide General Conference President, Pastor Dr. Ted Wilson, has included on his tour, which started in the Republic of Zambia and the Republic of Kenya. The President, who is accompanied by his spouse, Shepherdess Nancy Wilson, is on his first visit in the Kingdom. This is the second visit by a sitting president from the Seventh-day Adventist Church headquarters since the church was planted in the Kingdom back in 1920 in Mbugwane in the Shiselweni region. The first visit was made by the father of the visiting president, Nelson Wilson, in 1989. Brethren from the Eswatini Conference gathered at the Mavuso Exhibition and Trade Center to listen to a sermon by their leader, who is admired for his humility despite leading a church with a global membership of about 22 million people. Apart from His Majesty's representative, the event was also graced by the Minister of Home Affairs, Her Royal Highness Princess Lindiwe, and their Royal Highnesses, Prince Banzile, Princess Demtsimba, and Princess Dianza. His Majesty the King applauded the Church for its collaboration with government in critical sectors that contribute to the welfare of the nation.
Government is also aware of the collaboration in the education and health sector where human and financial resources are shared with government, supporting the Church's initiatives. Your Church has been a good corporate citizen. The recent COVID-19 pandemic also affected the way all sectors conduct their business to try and minimize the spread of COVID. It suffices to say your Church was compliant to the guidelines laid down by the state as advised by WHO. Another area of collaboration is the strong messages that your Church, through its programs, fights gender-based violence, thus proclaiming the End It Now campaign. Government is also pleased that the Church takes serious issues of protecting women and children. I'm aware that periodically the Church brings support to these groups. Also encouraging is your Church's effort to promote skills development and self-sufficiency. One notable program is the Adventist Disaster Relief Program. The Adventist Church has been running in the country in collaboration with other government and NGOs programs in times of disasters, like in floods, droughts, training in HIV and AIDS itself.
The President expressed a strong desire to return to the Kingdom to experience more of its peaceful atmosphere.
We will take from this visit something so deep in our hearts that it will never be removed until we see each other in heaven. the graciousness of the country, the warmth of the people, the peaceful atmosphere that we sense, the foundation built upon the Word of God, principles that carry you forward into daily life that are based upon principles from the throne room of heaven.
The Minister of Home Affairs said she was hopeful that the president would experience an unforgettable royal experience in the country.
Dr. Wilson, we thank God for your safe arrival to the Kingdom of Eswatini, and we trust that despite your brief stay, you will enjoy a royal experience.
Towards the end of the event, Their Majesties presented the Wilsons with traditional gifts.
Here is the container, traditional container.
Likewise, the church presented Their Majesties with special gifts. Gifts from the church were also extended to the Honorable Minister and Emazinyane. At Mavuso Exhibition and Trade Center, I am Sandile Makanya for Eswatini TV.
Their Majesties have officially announced the first leg of the Bukana ceremony for this year. The ceremony will begin at Bulletin residence on Friday, the 24th of February and proceed until Sunday, the 26th of February 2023. Making the announcement on behalf of Their Majesties was Indvuna Tango from the whole region, Lotopi in Zimanze.
Lalela sikutshele tindzaba letibuye enkosini uyeswana uthokandaba lutsango lonke lakahoho aluphelele esigodlweni ebuhleni luphelele nebugani balo enyangeni lesetulu kundlovane mhla tingamashumi lamabili natine yothi mhla tingamashumi lamabili nesihlanu engomeni yakhe mhla tingamashumi lamabili nesithupha ayachithwa amabutho abophezu kwemkhono usho njalo umsati omnyama kubakala uthuli ulot mandaba sempelempeleni ulot mandaba semampontweni ayethe wena phakathi ayethe wena phakathi phezu komkhono ngekuthunywa ngawe emakhosi elithangweni ngemgcibelo kubhekeke ukuthi ilithango livunule lihiya leli orange bese ngelisondo livunula lihiya lelibovu luthango ke kufanele ukuthi lubonakale ukuthi luhle kahle luvunule lokufananako litoba luhle lihlobise lomsebenzi wemakhosi ayethe wena waphakathi.
The Deputy Prime Minister, Themba Masuku, says government continues to assess the damages caused by the ongoing rains. Masuku says the most affected parts of the country are the northern part of the Lubombo region and the northern part of the Shiselweni region. Deputy Prime Minister was speaking when giving an update on the ongoing damage assessment caused by the rains.
Lesikubonile nyalo ukuthi umonakalo lomkhulu waleti mvula wenteke northern ho kusho enyakatho naho kuphindze kube northern Lubombo kusho njalo nibonile nje le tindzawo entabo maphiven naletinye vele umkhulu lo monakalo kusho leti mvula lato tinele ngalapho ngale ngeshiselweni lebesikubona kusemasimini nje lapha bokhanza ukuthi kunalamanti ngoba bathi na itolo line kakhulu ukhanza ke ukuthi emasimini lamanye lokudla kuvele kuyandanda nje imimbila lelo bese isinzile kulo monakalo welanga lamaviki lamathathu la besihlaseleke ngawo khanzasi leyo mbila bese wetama kumila ingabe mhlambe tibhidvo noma tindlubu mantongomane nasibuka la etulu ngoba le helicopter beyisonzela phansi la sibona khona ukuthi ungathi kunekulukhuni kepha ke singakusho nje ukuthi basekhona nalabanye bethu kanti lababukako ngoba mhlambe nalatulu khona tihosha lobongeke ukuthi itsinze kepha ke sisetawu buya sihlanganise.
Relatives of the elderly who have passed on can now start applying for support under the funeral cover for the elderly by the government of Eswatini. This has been said by the Principal Secretary, Milus Masugu, who stated that the fund will be under Snapetelo Motor Vehicle Accident Fund.
The Principal Secretary says the fund will only be available to the elderly who do not have insurance.
Hulumende ke evikini leliphelile uthathe isinqumo sokuthi ukuhlangabeza abantu labadzala labahluphekile uhulumende utawukhipha imali lengangathi inkulungwane letintsatfu which is 3000 emalangeni sinema office ke la kithakele lonke lelive abosondlola kahle siyacela ke isivele kwekuthi sisibambise kwekuthi nangabe kuvele kuhlupheka mhlawumbe kulelo khaya lelithite bavele bahambe bayovela emahofisini abosondlola kahle lakuvutane nabo batawufike ke lapho baniketwe ama-application forms labatawatfola baphindze ke baniketwe ke neluhla lwema-documents lokufuna ukuthi bawalethe ehofisini leliphini landvunankulu kuto-uprova lokuthi vele lona losasishiyile bekuwumuntu lowabekahluphekile. Sithethe isinqumo futhi sekwekuthi nangabe kukhona-ke lowabenawo yena mhlawumbe umshwalensi njengoba nathi nonke ukuthi cishe abantu labanyenti lapha ekhaya sebanawo umshwalense bantu labanjengalabo angeke balithole lolu sito lolu.
The Deputy Prime Minister's office has stated that some of the documents needed in filing the claim include a family letter stating full names of the deceased, an identity number as well as the name of the claimant, a bank statement or MTN cell number of claimant registered for mobile money. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture says the price of fertilizer has slightly dropped compared to last year. Speaking while giving an update on the farming situation in the country, the Principal Secretary says they are hoping that farmers can take an advantage of the situation and use the fertilizers to plant crops that will flourish this season.
The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture says the Russia-Ukraine war has had an impact in the supply of fertilizer in the country, leading to the prices escalation. He adds that small-scale farmers were hugely affected. However, farm input subsidy had helped them in ensuring that some farmers are able to plow enough maize.
The hardest hit vele kulaba balimi even kube ngilama small scale farmers ngoba sitsite ngisho sesi-introduceile le subsidy ya 65% kuthi bona bafake lo 35. The price increase was so high lokuthi lo 35% labaningi bebangamkhona. Kwabonakala ke lokuthi vele sitawuba nayo lenkinga abanayo khona kulimi. But lokwendekile lapho sivule le hectarage. In the past besithi umuntu utawuniketwa inhlanyelo noma ama-supplies for 1 hectare. Nasekhulisa ke ngokuthi singakuniketa for up to 3 hectares. Kwase kwenta ukuthi ke at least noma angakhona lama small scale farmers lalima mhlambe bo 1 hectare or even less at times. Laba lese bathathe for ama-supplies 1, 2, 3 hectares. Sebatawukhona kusikhava. Labo fertilizer bona basishayile kakhulu ngoba nasingabekisa nje lisaka lamanyolo belisuke ku800 emalangeni laya ku1400 sengikhona ke liphinzele ehla labuya phasi kancane so uyalithola nje letindzaweni ngabo 1100 noma 1200.
The Principal Secretary says the decline in the cost of fertilizer has been a positive for farmers, stating that although the plowing season for maize is over, farmers can still use the fertilizer for other crops. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
The Deputy Prime Minister's office wishes to warn the public of scammers who con people of their money, claiming they are from the Deputy Prime Minister's office under the Vela program. The Principal Secretary, Melus Masugi, says the elderly are not supposed to pay any form of money for services under the program.
The Deputy Prime Minister's office is currently running the Vela campaign aimed at collecting data for the elderly, especially those that receive grants. However, scammers have now taken advantage of this program to solicit funds from the public. The Principal Secretary in the Deputy Prime Minister's office, Melusi Masugu, has given a stern warning to those perpetrating this crime, stating that no one is supposed to pay for government services.
Kukhona abantu la ngaphandle la bayenga abantu labadzala babakhipisa imali kunayi exercise lendiwa office leliphini landvunankulu la exercise yavela siva ke ukuthi kunabantu lababhadalisa abantu labadzala imali lenganga 120 emalangeni babathembisa ukuthi bathi abasida ukuze bakhona ukungena kulolu hlelo lolusha lokubaholela abantu labadzala njalo ngenyanga sithi ngiyasixwayisa save ukuthi labantu labenda lo ukuthi le office la leliphini landvunankulu asibati labakwendako ukukhiphisa sive imali lengaka asikwati akagunyatwa ngilolo office siyacela ke ukuthi sive sibanake labantu labenda lo kusiphindze futhi siba report emaphoyiseni ladvutane lesikwati ukuthi ukuthi eminyakeni lophelile nasawuphela nje senda simemedelo sicela ukuthi bantu labadzala bavele emahhovisini ladvutane nabo abosonhlala kahle silungisela lolu hlelo lolusha lekubaholela njalo ngenyanga.
The Principal Secretary says those perpetrating the crime will face the full might of the law. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Langamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
Over 460 people have been affected by floods caused by rains that have been pouring since last week. This has been said by the National Disaster Management Agency's Communications Officer, Wandile Mavuso, on Tuesday. Mavuso says there are schools which also have been affected.
The National Disaster Management Agency has conducted an assessment of the damage caused by floods in the country since last week. Communications Officer Wandile Mavuso says the damage is extensive.
As of itoro nje bekunena ukuthi bantu lasebashile emhlabeni babili munye utholakala sugcotshwe indlu.
He says 2 people have died, 92 houses have been affected, 464 people have also been affected. He also says rivers are full and bridges have been swept away. He says they have already assisted 75 people from 15 families with food and tents. He adds that people should be patient with them as they are still trying to ensure that they assist all affected people.
Asalimele emuke nawo lamandla lanemandla. Mhlambe kungaba kucela ke bekunene ukuthi sive asinake bekunene kakhulu etikolweni kakhulu ngoba kulethi indzawo kuyabonakala ukuthi le mifula isengakehli.
Mavuso says most of the affected areas are in the northern Hoho and Lubombo region. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela with Muzim Konda, Mbabane.
Coming in from the High Court, Lobamba Member of Parliament Alan Stewart's bail application will be argued on Thursday. Stewart has filed an urgent bail application pending his appeal in the Supreme Court. Stewart was before Judge Zonge Makakula.
On Tuesday, Lobamba Member of Parliament Alan Stewart was in court for his bail application. This follows his appeal at the Supreme Court after he was found guilty of attempted murder. The High Court found him guilty of the offence he committed in 2010 at Sitegi. He was sentenced to 5 years without an option of a fine. However, 2 years of the sentence was suspended. Stewart told the court that he wants to be released on bail because his matter will not be in this session of the Supreme Court roll. The court ruled that the matter be argued on Thursday. The court made it clear that this is not because of Stewart's status, but because the matter was filed under a certificate of urgency. In this matter, Stewart is represented by Linda Dlamini, and the matter is before Judge Zonke Makakula. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosi Mavimbela with Vuminkosi Nzinisa, High Court.
And more news in the world of business as we take a look at our financial indicators to see how our markets fared today in our financial report. Welcome back. In the world of sports, award-winning African football journalist Thomas Kwenaite believes the administrators of the Eswatini football have the capability of changing both the image and the growth of local football that seems to have dropped drastically for the past years. The South African-born journalist believes the immediate attention should be on the development of young players and ensure that they reach the elite stage, still monitored. Kwenaite was speaking to Eswatini TV Sports in Babane.
And in our sports news, award-winning African football journalist Thomas Kwenaite says the Kingdom of Eswatini has fallen off the mark in the previous years when it comes to football, and the immediate response is to ensure that individuals in charge of local football should take the matter serious, where the issue of development should be prioritized, just like any other African struggling nation in football.
Most African countries, I think our people took their eyes off the ball.
Okay.
I don't know how, but whatever structures they had in place at that time, they were working.
Yeah.
But I don't know what the country seems to have regressed since then. Remember, Eswatini needed a point to qualify for the AFCON.
Yeah.
And that point was when they dropped 2 points against Zimbabwe here at Somhlolo.
Yeah.
Had they won that game, just that one game, they would have qualified for the AFCON. I think it's not only a problem of Eswatini. It's an African problem that you find sometimes the administrators drop the ball, and sometimes it's an issue of, if as a federation you say to your players, come into camp, then we are playing a match, and then these will be your bonuses, even if it's 500 emalangeni. You tell them that every day you will get 500 emalangeni as your daily allowance. And for playing the game, you will get 2,000 emalangeni. Fulfill that promise. Because some of the players depend on that money, you know, for the upkeep of their own families. So when you break those promises, it affects the players, and they will not give you the 100% that you expect from them.
In other news, Eswatini Sports and Recreation Council has reminded all associations who are affiliated to the council to continue nominating their athletes ahead of the 2022 National Sports Awards on the 1st of March this year, with the actual deadline of nominations being this coming Friday. The 8 awards category includes Outstanding Sports Male and Female, together with Junior Outstanding Female and Male Sports of the Year. These awards will feature success of the past 2 years between 2020 to 2022. The outstanding award winners will have a chance to take part of the Region 5 Awards to be held later this year. Moving on to darts, Eswatini Darts Federation has announced the return of Eswatini Reinsurance Corporation Darts League after 5 months without action. The federation says the return begins this Saturday at Elangeni, with the defending champions, Malkens Darts Club, taking against the Correctional Darts Club. The eventual winner of this year's league will walk away with 15,000 emarangeni. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabisum Sonera.
With those sports news, we have hit the home stretch of our news bulletin at 8 at Eswatini TV on Valentine's Day. Before we go, here's a quick reminder of our news-making headlines tonight.
His Majesty King Eswatini III has commended strong collaboration that exists between the Seventh-day Adventist Church and government. Their Majesties have officially announced the first leg of the Bukalo ceremony for this year, and the Deputy Prime Minister says government continues to assess the damages caused by the ongoing rains.
Beautiful Kingdom of Eswatini, we have come to the conclusion of our news bulletin at 8 at Eswatini TV. Thank you so much for making Eswatini TV your news channel of choice. We shall now cross over to the Weather Center for a detailed weather report from us and the rest of the team at Eswatini TV. For now, it's good night and God bless.